Hello everyone, hope you're having a good day. Today I will be explaining the French defense for black for beginners in chess. I will not go through all the small details and nuances of the opening as that will take too long. I will only teach the basic strategies, few traps, and a few variations. So overall, the French defense is a solid opening for black. It is not the most aggressive opening, but it does have certain lines where it can be very aggressive. The key in the French as black is to always attack white's center and not allow white to control the center. Because if white gets control over the center, then black has a horrible position and will most likely lose. Some other strategies in the French as black are to exchange the light square bishop of white because that is the most powerful bishop in this opening. Anytime black can trade this bishop, he should absolutely do it. Also in the French, black should keep in mind that the bishop on c8 will be the bad bishop for black, as it will be blocked by pawns, so black should try to activate it as quickly as possible. If you do not understand what I mean by this, I will show you in a moment. So in this video, I will share three variations in the French: the advanced variation, exchange variation, the Tarrasch variation. Okay, so this is the French defense. e4, e6. This move solidifies that black will now play the French in this game. So continuing, d4, d5, and white has many options here, but the one I will be showing is when white plays e5. This is called the advanced variation. The plan behind this is to control the center, and as I stated before, that if white gets control of the center, then black is pretty much lost. So to combat this, you must play c5. This pressures the pawn on d4, attacking white's center. So black can defend this in two ways, here with c3 and with knight f3. So if white plays knight f3, you can actually just take this pawn, and no matter what they take back with, it's not that good for them because they have this weak e5 pawn, and that will be a weakness throughout the game, and you have a strong pawn chain here. So that's not too good. So instead, white should play c3, defending this pawn. So if you take, they take right back, and it's not good for black. So then you should play knight c6 because you want to put as much pressure as you can on this pawn. And now white should defend by playing knight f3. And continue, put queen b6 and put more pressure on this pawn. And here white has a few more options. They can play a3, which is the best move, or the interesting bishop d3. Bishop d3 is actually not a really good move, but here it might seem like you can take this pawn for free because there's three attackers for black and two defenders, but as you can see, if I continue with this, here there's a nasty threat of bishop b5 check. Your king is now under check, so you have to move, and your queen is hanging. So no matter what you play, you lose your queen and you lose the game. Okay, so here, right here, you can take. This is fine, but you don't take with the knight. You play an in-between move, bishop d7. So now, no matter, if they played something random, then you could take, and they don't have this check here because your bishop is here. And here usually white has like two options. They can either go back here or they can move their bishop back here because they want to be able to protect this pawn now. So let's say if white goes here. If white goes here, you want to play bishop b4. As I stated before, this is the strongest bishop in this opening. So if you have a chance of trading it, you should definitely do it. And if they try to run from that, you can play rook c8. You can also play bishop b5. You have a lot of options. This is definitely not what white wanted. And if they just play a developing move, you automatically just take, and you're definitely positionally better because you've eliminated the best bishop that white has. Okay. Going back, bishop e2 is also the same. You can continue with knight b4, and then you can bring your rook over to c8 and try to get some checks going here with a fork. Okay, so that was the interesting bishop d3. Now the best move here, a3. This is the book move, and basically what you should play is bishop e7. They usually play bishop e2, and you can continue with knight e7, just trying to develop your pieces. You can also play knight h6, but I don't prefer this because it just they can take this and it just doubles your pawns here. You're probably not going to castle kingside after this. So I prefer to go knight e7. Now, I have a couple of choices. They can just develop normally with this, or they can castle. Sometimes they do play this, and here you should not take back. You should not take the pawn back. Why? Because now you're so this is called lost of a move. You basically lost a move. You're gonna go back, and they have this. So that's called lost of a tempo, which is not good. So instead, you should go back, and you're now attacking this pawn, and they should defend it. And if they don't, you can play this and just pile up on this as well, because this opens the route for your bishop to attack this. So if they, let's say, play this to protect, you play this, and they have to go back now. You don't have to take this, but you can take this. This develops your bishop, which is good, and this is a good strategy in the opening. So it is better to move your queen back in this position than to take. From here, white has another option. Besides playing e5, which is the advanced variation, white can take the pawn, and this is called the exchange variation. This is normally known to be very boring, and it usually leads to draw positions, but the best play to play in this position is to, as usual, fight for the center. So some options for white are knight c3, knight f3, developing the bishop. Usually the best move is to play knight f3. Black should continue with bishop d6. Just get this bishop, get all your bishops out, get all the pieces out, and try to control the center. And it can continue somewhat like this. Here, c6, also protecting. As you can see, it's not too interesting yet, and it can get interesting in the middle game, but in the start, it's not too interesting. So continue like this, castles, and it's basically a game of developing and who can control the center. I usually find this kind of formation to work out for me, this like square formation, and usually I play knight f6 later and try to get this square here, and usually this is a solid setup. Here, white has another variation, and it starts with the move knight d2. This is called a Tarrasch variation. It does look very weird as it blocks the development of this bishop, but it's actually very common in the tournament level, and it can also be pretty tricky to deal with. So black should play knight f6. White usually plays e5, as they want to protect this pawn, and also they gain space in the center. Now black plays this weird move, knight fd7. This move looks like it's just cramping black, but they will actually get out of this, as you will see in a moment. And usually they play c3 here just to solidify the center. And now you play c5 to attack the center again. And now white can either play bishop d3 or knight f3. Usually white plays bishop d3, as this is the better option. Then you play knight c6 to put more pressure. Now white has to defend this pawn. Usually they play knight f3 or knight e2. Knight e2 is usually the better option, even though they're both similar. Now here there are going to be a series of exchanges that will allow you to get out of this cramped position. So you take on d4, they take back. Now you play f6. This is usually not advice. You're usually not advised to move the f pawn in front of the king, as that could be a weakness in the future, but this is actually the only way to get out, and it's also the best way to. And here you might think knight f4 might be attacking this pawn, but you actually miss the move where they take the pawn, and black is just fine. Here they usually take back, knight f3, then bishop d6. Bishop d6 is to prevent this bishop from gaining any control on this diagonal. So, and it also prevents knight to just jumping to e5 immediately, which can be very annoying to deal with. Now here it's just normal development, castle, and from here on, black might try to play this to bishop to f4. Just remember, you have a semi-open f-file, so you have to use that to your advantage. And also, you should try to play queen b6, maybe get your bishop d7 and bring rook over to e8, and that is your ideal setup for the Tarrasch, against the Tarrasch variation. Please let me know in the comments section if you have any questions about this opening, or if you would like me to expand on this opening by showing game examples. Next video, I'll be talking about a white opening called the Roy Lopez, If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. See you